What's up, y'all? The NBA season is back, and while teams continue to find their footing, our partners at Fanatics Sportsbook are already running championship plays. Bet with Fanatics and earn up to 10% fan cash on your bets, win or lose. So even if your bet misses, you're still scoring fan cash, which you can use on NBA gear, tickets, and exclusive Fanatics events. And with fair play, if your players go down injured in the first half, your bet stays live. Make the switch and get more ways to win with Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here.
Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. I am your boy, Jonathan Macri, here with you on a day after Thanksgiving. That was a game that certainly I think we were eagerly anticipating for a variety of reasons. If you care about the NBA Cup, this was a game worth caring about. If you care about the Knicks just getting a win over a good team as opposed to one of the dregs of the league, this was a game you cared about. If you cared about the Knicks avenging one of the more frustrating losses of the year, this was a game you cared about. And certainly, if you wanted to see the Knicks take on one of the absolute very best players in the NBA on his in the game in which he made his return to the court after being down for the count for the last few weeks, this was a game for you to care about. And for all of those reasons, it feels really, really, really nice to be able to sit here and talk about a game that I think we can safely say, I know there are not too many candidates. It's early. The Knicks have only played 18 games, but talk about one of the best Knicks wins of the year, if not the best Knicks win of the year. Extremely excited to talk about it with everybody, especially all the people that are watching along with us on YouTube and in the chat. On that note, special announcement before I get to the rest of my monologue, starting a new thing here with Knicks Film School on Friday nights. Anytime the Knicks play a game on Friday nights, we will be doing this. Our chat of the night presented by our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook works really simple. Anybody who makes a chat, whether it's a chat, a regular chat, a super chat, anything at all, is going to be eligible for the chat of the night. And then at the end of the night, we are going to give away $25 in Fanatics FANCASH to the winner of our chat of the night. So make your chats good, because I'm going to pick one. And, I'm a kooky kind of guy. So maybe make him a little funny, make him a little insightful. I don't know, whatever you think is going to catch my fancy, because I'm the one picking them. So sorry. All right. Getting back to this game. Where to start with this one? I think there's a few different places we could go. I think for me, man, there is a place that I want to start, but it would be such an odd place to start. I think we have to start with Josh Hart. I think starting it with any place other than Josh Hart would be a little disingenuous, with all due respect to the captain doing what the captain does. And it is a testament to Jaylen Brunson's total and utter greatness that he can put on a fucking clinic against I think they're a respectable defense at the very least, and score 37 points on 21 shots. And it's just like, yeah, okay, Jaylen Brunson went and played basketball tonight. That's my reaction. He has elevated himself to just an ungodly plane of expectation and following through on those expectations. We'll get to Jaylen Brunson in a second. I'm going to start with Josh. Man, what a time it's been since Josh Hart got traded here. The roller coaster ride of sets New York on fire in quite literally his first game wearing the uniform. Spearheads them on a run of, like, frankly, dominance in his first season here. Has to this day, maybe the biggest single playoff shot in my mind over the last 25 years of Knicks history to beat Cleveland in game 1 way back when the first season he was here. Then he's like, along with Brunson and Devo and Hartenstein, member of the Walking Wounded, or one of the guys that I guess isn't wounded, and kind of has that inspirational second season here in New York. And then that leads to last season when all the stuff that we loved, all of a sudden that kind of fell by the wayside, and it started to become more glaring, all the stuff that we maybe didn't love as much about Josh Hart and his inability to minimize those things. And that all led us to this season. New coach, new role off the bench. And I think for a variety of reasons, all the kind of stuff that I talked about, there was just a lot of uncertainty about Josh Hart going into this year. What was he going to be? What would he mean to the team? What would he have to mean to the team for them to be successful? What could he mean to the team if they maybe fell short of expectations? And early on, the way the year started, didn't always go great. And then he kind of started to find the comfort zone and a rhythm. And I don't know that it just took him time. I don't know. There's been a lot of talk about the fact that Knicks hired a shooting coach who Josh Hart has spoken about. Has that impacted things in a positive way? Whatever it is, he started to get more and more comfortable. And then due to injuries, he was back in a place where he claimed that he didn't want to be after I don't want to say demotion, but after he went to the bench, because he talked about wanting to know his role and be comfortable in his role and then know what he was going to be doing every night. Well, now we need you to start again because we're down certain guys. Down OG Anunoby, down Landry Shamet. And since he has been back in the starting lineup, Josh Hart has been playing. I mean, is it too much for me to sit here and say that Josh Hart is now playing the best basketball of his career? Listen, it's 3 games, right? So grains of salt aplenty. But in these starts, his first start was a little light on the points, only 7 points, but 12 rebounds, 7 assists. I thought he played very well in the Brooklyn win overall. Last game against the Charlotte Hornets, 22 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, was 4 of 6 from 3, made his first 3 3-pointers in that game. And then that brings us to tonight, where he wasn't hitting the threes. It was the first game in a while he hasn't hit 3, 0 of 4, but 5 of 8 from 2-point range. Finishes with 19 points on 12 shots. Pretty nifty efficiency if you get 19 points on 12 shots and you don't hit a single 3-pointer and you take 4 3-pointers. In 40 minutes, a team high, got to the line 10 times. I don't know how many times Josh Hart has taken 10 free throws in the game. I can't imagine there's been many. And then, of course, Josh Hart doing Josh Hart things, 15 rebounds and 7 assists. He was indeed a team high plus 17, and I do not think that number was a misnomer. In other words, for the 8 minutes of game time that Josh Hart sat in this game, the Knicks were outscored by 6 points. So, yeah, in a game they won by 9. 6 points? 8 points. I could do math. So, yeah, it has opened up a whole host of conversations again. I look forward to getting into some of those conversations tonight. We were talking about it towards the end of our playback watch along. Shout out to Sean and Andrew for joining me on there and all the people who watched along with us. Kevin, our friend Kevin Danishevsky brought it up, like, when OG comes back, is it Deuce? Is it Hart? And I'm just going to tell you right now, I don't have an answer. I don't think there is a right answer. I think anyone who claims that they know the right answer to that question is, I don't want to say that they're lying. You could have an opinion. You could feel strongly one way or the other. I just, I watch this team a lot. I think about this team a lot. I think about these players a lot. I know Josh Hart at his best and his worst. And I know Deuce is kind of like a little bit steadier. Steady as she goes. We're going to talk about Deuce in a second. I just don't have the right answer. I don't know which makes the starting 5 better. I don't know which is better for those respective players. But I know that right now the Knicks, when they are fully healthy, are going to have as good a top 6 as there is in the league. I wish I could say top 7, but Mitchell Robinson's still not quite there. We don't know where Mitch is, although he had some good moments tonight, some important defensive moments tonight, some important rebounds tonight. So that's it for Josh Hart. Great stuff from Josh. Let's go to Deuce next. Why not? We'll finish with Brunson. Brunson doesn't need me to talk about him. He's got more than enough people to blow smoke up his ass. 19 points for Deuce. Same as Josh, ironically enough. 33 minutes, took 7 threes, made 5 of them. And there were some big makes in there, because for as much as the Knicks, had some good moments on offense tonight, they, the Milwaukee challenged them in an interesting way, I thought. And Milwaukee in the beginning of the game said, we're just not going to give you threes. And I think they did a really good job of taking away the 3 from the Knicks. So I think that threw the Knicks offense off a little bit. Now I think the Knicks did a good job of weathering that storm. And I think in particular, the Knicks did probably their best job all season. And this is probably like the lead story of the game. The Knicks did the best job that they have all season of drawing fouls. Knicks got to the line 33 times in this game. They made 28. So that's obviously outstanding. But as the game went along and as the Bucks were reminded, oh yeah, we can't stop Jaylen Brunson. We have no one who could stand a chance against him individually. And we've never had someone who could stand a chance against him individually. They started putting 2 on the ball, and it was incumbent upon Knick 3-point shooters to make the shots that resulted from those 4-on-3 situations, when you would get, whether it was Josh Hart in the short roll, and often it was Josh Hart in the short roll. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many of those threes came out of Deuce's, or how many of those situations yielded Deuce threes, but I know that every one of his threes felt massive in the moment. And I know when the moments were there where Jaylen Brunson was out of the game, which I'm pretty sure at least one of Deuce's threes came in one of those instances. But there are just some nights where you're going to need your role players to make shots. And on a night when some other significant Knick role play, or not Knick role players, on a night when some other significant Knicks had rough nights, let's just say, Deuce having that sort of a night from downtown, I thought was really important. Okay. Mikal doesn't need, I don't think Mikal needs a whole section. Mikal played a strong game. He keeps up with this stocks thing. 2 steals, 1 block. Good stuff from him overall. Tyler Kolek, shout out to Tyler Kolek. I thought his 10 minutes were really positive. His 3 was really big in the moment that he had it. Got a nice steal that didn't end up turning into anything, but it was an important steal. It felt like in the moment to at least just like take away a shooting possession from the Bucks. Do I want to go Brunson or do I want to go in the other direction? You know what? I want to save that conversation for last. Jaylen Brunson. What should I say about Jaylen Brunson? What is there to say? I mean, his games against Milwaukee, he's great against everybody, but there is something about when Jaylen Brunson faces a team that he knows has nobody who could handle him, and he knows they know that they have nobody that could handle him. His approach changes ever so slightly. Like, Jaylen Brunson is never going to be, Steve Nash or Chris Paul on the offensive side of the ball. He is always going to be a score first, shoot first point guard. But it goes to another notch. And look, his critics will say that that's a negative because he is, perhaps maybe too much with the ball or too much looking for his own shot. When Jaylen Brunson faces teams like this that don't have a prayer in hell of stopping him, it is one of the most awe-inspiring things to watch in the NBA, because there is nobody else at his size that can do to a team what he did to the Bucks. And does it in a way, this comparison is going to sound insane because one guy was 7 feet tall and 320 pounds or whatever the hell he was, and the other guy is whatever the hell Brunson is, 6 feet probably, without sneakers on. It reminds me of like Shaq. Again, it sounds ridiculous on its face, but the level of like, there's nothing you could do to stop me tonight unless you just put 2 on the ball, and then I'm going to make the right play if you do that. Like, the Bucks don't have any way to stop Jaylen Brunson. What are they going to do? They have no one who could guard him. They haven't had anyone who could guard him since he became a member of the Knicks. And it really is the level of dominance. I mean, look, Shaq was 1 of 1, but like the level of dominance of a center, of an old school center who is just going to back someone down and put the dude in the basket. That's what it is watching Jaylen Brunson against a team like this. And look, most teams now have someone who could credibly guard a guy like Brunson. So I don't want to make it out to be like he could do this to half the league. But man, the Bucks are not one of those teams. And I don't know when they're going to get one of those guys that can credibly guard JB, but they sure as shit don't have one right now. And it is a lot of fun to watch him just absolutely go to town. Again, 37 points on 21 shots. What more can you say? Okay. Let's get to the other end of the spectrum briefly before we move on to the chat tonight. I mentioned Mitch. Mitch is just a little off still. I don't know what it is. I think physically he's not quite there right now. I still think that it's weird. His minutes, some stuff with Mitch is weird, and yet he had some good moments tonight. So I'm not going to kill him too much. Gershon, thanks for participating tonight. Really, truly. Jordan Clarkson. We've been fans of Jordan Clarkson here at Knicks Film School. I'd like to say that Knicks Film School is a pro Jordan Clarkson operation. We collectively appreciate what he brings to the table. It's usually something, it's like, thinking of Thanksgiving dishes. I make one of the things I make for holidays. The one thing I've always made, whether I'm hosting or we're going to somebody's house, is these twice baked potatoes that are just filled with butter and cheese, and it's a potato, so it's not like there's a whole lot of healthy stuff there, and it tastes really good. But as you're eating it, you actually feel your arteries like screaming at you, like, why are you doing this to me? And that's usually the Jordan Clarkson experience, where he does, some good stuff for sure, but it's bad for you at the same time. Well, tonight, the potatoes got burned, and they're still just as unhealthy, but they tasted like shit. 2 for 13. That was the first truly like painful Jordan Clarkson game that we've gotten. It's a one-off. I'm not killing him for it. Let's move on. He'll be better the next game, I'm sure, because guess what? The nice thing about having Jordan Clarkson on your team is he ain't going to remember this game the next time he goes out. So that's good. And then I'm going to save this guy for last. I am going to start by reading his stat line because I don't want to seem like I'm hiding anything here. In 36 minutes tonight, Karl-Anthony Towns was 2 of 8 from the field. 10 rebounds. It's okay. 4 assists. It's okay. We're going to get back to his passing. 2 turnovers. Not bad at all. He had 4 fouls. 2 of 8 from the field. 9 points. I know where you think I'm going with this one. Because last time Karl played this Bucks team, he had a very, very poor game. It incited a rant from me. It incited, I think, multiple newsletters from me. Not on a positive, not of the positive variety about Karl-Anthony Towns. I'm not mad at Karl tonight. Not one bit. Did Karl have a good game? No, he did not. Would I have been very annoyed at Cat if they had lost this game? You're damn right. I would have been very annoyed. I would have been even mad. I would have been mad at one moment in particular when on the last play of the first half, and you could go back and watch it if you're doubting me, he did not guard Kyle Kuzma on that last play, and I'm fairly certain the last 3-point shot. I'm fairly certain Josh Hart let him have it afterwards. So, yeah, there was a moment in there that did make me a little upset. Wasn't the only Knick, by the way, that did guard the 3-point line tonight. To be very clear, we'll talk about the Knicks defense. I'm sure it's going to come up in the super chats, so that's why I'm not spending too much time on it right now. But this defense without OG Anunoby, oh boy. And yet, at the same time, to give up only 109 points to a Milwaukee team that ended up shooting 44% from deep. I know they were shooting like 65% for most of the game. Pretty good work. And they D'd up when they needed to in the fourth quarter. It's a major story of this game. Major story of this game. I probably could have led with that. That their defense that they pulled off in the fourth quarter was really, I don't know if I go so far as to say exceptional. It was really good. It was really good defense. And in the second half in general, they gave up 47 points in the second half. Very good. Excellent job. Back to Karl. Was the results good? No. I thought his process in this game was night and day from the last time they played the Bucks. I thought he got good looks out of his 8 field goal attempts. I thought all of them were good to very good. There was one drive he had against AJ Green in the first half where I thought he could have stood to, instead of driving all the way to the rim, maybe display a little bit more patience and try to, have AJ Green. Like, again, you don't have to go. It's not 0 or 60. It is a 0 to 60. So that means you could choose 20, 30, 35, 40. But he went full overdrive and tried to beat Green off the dribble, and it just missed. It happens. He didn't hit shots. But his passes, I thought this was arguably, I know he only had 4 assists, I don't care. I thought this was arguably his best passing game of the year. I thought he had some really nice defensive moments tonight. He had several big rebounds. Only had 10 rebounds, and he's had bigger rebounding games. I thought some of his rebounds were contested rebounds, big rebounds. Him snatching away that jump ball when this was still a game there with a few minutes to go in the fourth quarter, I thought was really big. It felt really big in the moment. And again, I thought there's a reason why in his minutes the Knicks were not getting killed, despite the fact that he couldn't hit a shot, because as others have talked about, when he is out there, it has such a positive impact on the Knicks offense. And look, Mitch, to his credit, caught a couple balls into the rim and actually finished a couple times tonight, which was good. He had a putback, I think, too. The Knicks just don't have anyone they could throw out there at the 5 that could come, this is the understatement of the year, that could come close to replicating anything that Cat does. And when he's not out there, even when it doesn't matter who else you throw out there. Let's put Yabu to the side because you can't trust Yabu at the 5 right now. So it has to be Mitch. So let's say it's Mitch, it's JB, it's Bridges, probably Hart, right now, and Deuce. That's probably the best 5-man or the best non-Cat unit that you could throw out there, offensively, certainly. And you feel it missing him. Like the Knicks have trouble generating good looks because they don't have Cat there. And it's going to sound insane, but I thought this was a positive step forward for Cat from a process standpoint. The execution was abysmal from a shot making standpoint. Other areas of tonight, I thought his execution was okay. Again, it would have been, and there were some other things. There were some fouls, there was some stuff, but I'm looking for progress with this player. I'm looking for reasons to believe that against teams that maybe can throw some different things at him that make him uncomfortable, I want to see just any signs that he has the capability to handle those situations. Is the obvious comeback to the thing that I just said, that, wait a minute, you're looking for positive fucking signs from a guy making $53 million a year and who's made all NBA teams? What are you on drugs, Macri? I don't take drugs, so I'm not. I do like occasional alcoholic beverage. That's just where I'm at. And that speaks to the side of me, the skeptical side of me, but it is where I'm at with him. And again, at some point, the shots are going to start going down. I thought maybe we were heading in that direction. If your narrative coming off of tonight is Karl Towns can't produce against the tough teams, against the good teams, I can't sit here right now and say I have any kind of evidence to dispute that. So if that's what you want to say, it's fine. I'm choosing to try to look in the positive direction with him. So that's the last thing I wanted to say, because I thought overall it was a really positive game, good win for the Knicks. And I guess we do have to say that NBA Cup, here we come, right? For the third year in a row. There are 30 teams in the NBA. There is not a single other team in the league that could say that they have been to the NBA Cup quarters, I guess, or break rounds, whatever you want to call it, in all 3 years that this thing has been in existence. So, you know what? Do I give a shit about the NBA Cup? No, I don't. But I care about the reputation of the Knicks, only because I was a fan for several decades where that reputation was not impeccable. And the fact that the Knicks are the one team to have done this all 3 years, it's not that that matters to me as much as that it is not a surprise in the least. Where if like you're listening to a podcast or something tomorrow, I know pods don't drop on Saturdays, but like if you're listening to SportsCenter or whatever, whoever people talking about basketball, and the hosts are sitting around talking about, oh well, who do you think's the one team that's made all 3 quarters? And if the answer is the Knicks, everybody would just be like, oh, okay, yeah. That's what I care about. That's what I care about. The Knicks are in a place now where they are consistently good to very good to excellent, and nobody's surprised by it because they're just a well-run organization, and it's cool that they're in the Cup quarters for the third year in a row. They should be proud of it. Now, what I would really like this time is to not have an existential crisis after we lose the quarterfinal game. I would like to either win that game or not have an existential crisis, because I remember that Bucks game well. I remember the Boston consolation game that followed it well. And God, do I remember that Atlanta game last year. Oh my Lord, what a miserable night that was. So they're playing. Yeah, this is how much I care about the Cup. I don't even know are they playing Toronto? I think they're playing Toronto. Mark, do you know? Mark doesn't know either. Mark and me are clearly, we're the two biggest NBA Cup fans. Hold on, I'll look it up. How hard could this be to navigate to on ESPN? This is scintillating fucking podcasting right here. Doesn't he? Oh, here. Wait, hold on. NBA Cup takeaways. Okay. So this should tell me what it is, right? No, that's group play. Do I have to go to takeaways? I can't find it. So whatever. I guess. Well, somebody say it in the chat, and then Mark, you could let me know. Maybe that could be our first contender for the chat of the night. Is whoever correctly identifies who the Knicks are playing in the Cup quarterfinals. Yeah, we'll see. Raptors. Who just texted me this? Kyle. Shout out to Kyle. See, my first instinct was correct. Kyle, that's a text message, so it's not eligible for chat of the night, unfortunately. I'm sorry. All right. That's all I got to say. Let's go beat the Raptors in the Cup. How about this? How about we beat the Raptors on Sunday, and then let's beat them again in the NBA Cup, whenever the hell they play that game in a couple weeks, I guess. All right. Let's go to Mark. I don't care about the Cup here. You know what? I've said this the last 2 years. If they win it, I'll be very excited that they win the thing. I promise you. I'll be extremely excited if they win the thing. If they get the stupid trophy and the whole thing. Even though the last 2 teams that have won it have been the Lakers won it 2 years ago, and then their season went off the fucking rails. And then the Bucks won it last year, and then their season went completely sideways. So, yeah. Anyway. Hold on. We got a quick Mike Brown, couple Mike Brown quotes. So, Mike Brown's pumping up Jaylen Brunson for MVP. Sorry, Mike, that's not going to happen. Not in this NBA currently. Josh Hart, defensive player of the game. That's fun. Of course, he was smartly sure to give Karl a shout out for corralling that ball on the jump ball. Yeah, all good stuff. Mike Brown, he knows how to say all the right things. I'll give him that. Okay, let's go to the chats here. We'll get into it. I'm looking forward to tonight. This was a fun win. I'm really excited about this win. I was like, for much of this game, like I wanted them to win because I did not I thought they did enough nice things to be really happy about. And I thought the stuff that did not go their way when the Bucks were hitting a million threes in the first half, I thought was far more a function of the fact that the Knicks did not have OG Anunoby. And it's funny, I didn't bring this up. For as much as the Bucks don't have an answer for Giannis, or excuse me, the Bucks don't have an answer for Jaylen Brunson, when the Knicks don't have OG Anunoby, they really don't have an answer for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I'm not saying every one of those threes that went down was a result of the Knicks having to, beg from or borrow from Peter to pay Paul. But there was a lot of Sophie's choice defensive possessions for the Knicks throughout this game. And it felt like the Bucks were hitting threes on every single one of them. So that's the thing is this was going to be a painful post game if they had lost, even though if you looked at this game objectively, yeah, there were a lot of silly shit here and there. And there was shots they didn't make and some maddening turnovers from guys where it's oh my God, why did he throw that pass? But overall, I thought they played a good game, and that's why I'm happy they got this win. So, all right. I keep saying, let's get to the chats for real now. Let's get to, oh wait, no, we're not getting to the chats. Sorry. We're doing betting and sweating, right? Are we no betting and sweating tonight? No betting and sweating tonight. Okay. Even though I'm pretty sure it was a good night. All right. We start with Sam. What's up, Sam? Josh Hart gets way too much hate from the fan base. Again, this is one of those things where I'm not disagreeing with you, Sam. I think there is I always mispronounce this word. Vocal, not focal, vocal contingent of the fan base that does not like Josh Hart and feels like Josh Hart is whatever he is, overrated, and that his negatives outweigh his positives. I don't really care about those people. I've never cared about those people. Those people don't interest me because I more care about Knicks Nation worldwide and the people who aren't the loudest, and who are New Yorkers at heart, whether they have lived on, fucking 33rd Street and 8th Avenue their entire lives, or whether they have never stepped foot in this city a day in their life. And those people who have the spirit of New York in them watch Josh Hart play basketball and are just thankful that he plays for their team that they get to root for. And to say nothing of people like me who remember the 90s and know what that sort of basketball means, and how it can inspire, and not only inspire, but also really break the will of another team. Just you want to know all you need to know about Josh Hart? Go look at it was literally 20 seconds of game time when he had an outstanding defensive possession on Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then immediately after that, grabbed an offensive rebound down the other end. There's just not a lot of players in the league that there's nobody in the league who does exactly what Josh Hart does, but even the sort of stuff he does, there's not a lot of players that do that stuff. So, does he get way too much hate? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just really thankful that Josh Hart plays for my basketball team. Always have been. Thanks, Sam, for starting us off. Michael Aaron, what's going on, Michael? We get to root for Josh Hart and Jaylen Brunson on our basketball team. That is all. Yeah, it's a great place to be, and it's crazy that there was a time period where Brunson was on the team and Josh Hart was not. It was a brief period. It was only 50 games. But those two guys belong together. Which is why, again, I'm not saying everybody does this, but it's funny how often Josh Hart's contract gets thrown into fake trades when there's no world where I could imagine that being a thing that would ever happen. I just don't think they would ever do it. He means too much to the culture, the team. And him and Brunson, I'm happy you put them next to each other because you talk about great Knick duos throughout history. Great Knick duos throughout history. Guys who not only played the requisite amount of games together, guys who not only did the requisite amount of winning together, but guys whose games complemented each other. and who genuinely made each other better. And it's like there's no confusion with me at all why, when the game was coming down to the end and it was on the line, why it was Josh Hart involved in those screening actions with Jaylen Brunson. And he's the guy that I wanted in that situation. He's the guy that Jaylen Brunson wanted in that situation. Just like he's wanted Josh Hart in those situations time and time again over the years. So, I mean, look, they're starting, I think, to enter into that conversation of the great Knick duos in franchise history. You know, just going back the last 60 years. Yeah, I mean, the championship teams had multiple great duos, but Reed and Clyde, obviously. You know, Ewing, I don't know. I mean, you can say, you know, Ewing was just such a singular talent, you know, and Brunson is too, I know, but like, would you go Ewing and Starks? Would you go Ewing and Oakley? I don't know. It's I'm not even sure. But like Sprewell and Houston, I think should get some love here. You know, it really is kind of a, you know, it's a short list, and I think Jaylen Brunson and Josh Hart are moving up. So it's a cool thing. Thanks, Michael. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, brother? Just a door of the way Josh and Deuce played tonight. Josh didn't hit a three, and he was phenomenal. When OG returns, the starter by committee between them two makes sense. Kev, it's not a possibility that I considered, but let's play it out. What's the upside? The upside is you prioritize spacing in games where it makes sense to prioritize spacing, and you prioritize size and rebounding in games where it makes sense to prioritize more size and rebounding. I would, if I were Mike Brown, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I sure would be curious to know how those guys felt about that situation. Like, hey, some nights you're going to start, some nights you're going to come off the bench. Now, you might say neither guy should care because that's been the situation for both guys basically since they've been here. I mean, Deuce has been obviously in and out of the starting lineup. Josh Hart has been a starter for some time, but like he's been a starter, not a starter this year. When he first got here, he came off the bench. So I don't know. Maybe neither guy would care. It's just my 2 cents. I would be curious to know what they thought and if either guy felt that they would thrive more with a more consistent role. But that's just me. And hey, by the way, if Mitch gets back to playing the sort of basketball that we know Mitchell Robinson's capable of playing, then he should be part of that conversation as well. It's really a cool situation that the Knicks have three guys that should be part of that. Okay. I won't. Okay. Next super chat. Thanks, Kevin. Justin Richards, what's going on, Justin? On to the 6. You mean the 8, right? The 6? What is that? Like a nickname? Is that like a nickname for Toronto? I think so. I have a feeling it's like a nickname for the city of Toronto. I think playing a team like the Raptors with OG for the right to go to Vegas will only help them in the long run. Well, this game would take place on. Hold on. I think I know when this game would take place. This game would take place on either December 9th or December 10th. I don't know which one. Maybe they've already released a schedule. I have no idea. So we have not yet gotten an update on OG Anunoby, which is interesting because they said reevaluation in 2 weeks. And that was that after the Friday? When was that? Or was that? No, I think that was, so he didn't join them on the road trip. So it was before the road trip started. But let's say it hasn't been 2 weeks yet. It hasn't been 2 weeks yet. Didn't accompany them on the road trip. Hasn't been 2 weeks. And yes, the 6 is the nickname for Toronto. So I'm very proud of myself for that. So we should be getting an update on OG after the Toronto game. That should be the reevaluation, right? So that puts us at, let's just say for argument's sake, we get an update on him on Monday the 1st. That would put us a little bit more than a week out from the first knockout game. I'm not holding my breath that OG is going to play. I hope he does. I hope I'm wrong. Not holding my breath. If he does play, that would be really cool, because it would be really cool for him to be able to go up against his old team. And I think who they really use against a team with the size of the likes of RJ Barrett and Brandon Ingram and I was about to say Harrison Barnes, Scotty Barnes, all those guys. They could use a guy like OG Anunoby. So if they don't have OG, that's going to be a much, 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 much tougher game. But no shit, it'd be great if he plays. If he doesn't play, is it still a game they could win? Absolutely, it's still a game they could win. And the fact that it is going to be in Toronto, Knicks haven't exactly lit the world on fire on the road, so it makes it a little bit tougher. But yeah, in any case, and I actually, did they change the rules? Are the semifinals still in Vegas, or are the semifinals now just in one of the arenas? I don't care enough about the Cup to know that off the top of my head. I vaguely recall reading something about that, so we should double check that. Thanks, Justin. Bill Peter friend, what's going on, Bill? That felt like a win from the Tibbs era. Gritty at times, ugly, stressful, and oh so beautiful. I undoubtedly lost a year or two, but let's go Knicks. Look at you, Bill, sneaking a Tibbs reference in there, trying to get the chat of the night. It's not going to work. No, it's a good comment. Did it feel like a win from the Tibbs era? I mean, it was a lot of Brunson hero ball, so that sure felt Tibbsian. Man, I'm just trying to think of like how Tibbs would have defended Giannis on a night like tonight without OG Anunoby. I honestly don't think he would have done that much. Well, yeah, no, I don't think he would have done that much differently. I think he would have given the task to Josh Hart. He would have thrown Mitch on him at times. He would have, he would have been selective with his doubling and this and that. Yeah, no, it was a Tibbsian win. It absolutely was a Tibbsian win. It was they tried some different shit. And you know what the best part of tonight was? And I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is a really important part of this game for me. They bent, but they never break. But they never broke. And sometimes when a team is like hitting threes at that rate, and there was at one point tonight in the first quarter, the Bucks were 9 of 13 from three. At half, they were 12 of 22. Those sort of shooting numbers, and then the best player on the other team doesn't have a single one of those threes, and he's dominating you more than any of the other shooters. And then, oh, by the way, fucking Kyle Kuzma can't miss. Like, you add all that stuff up, that's like an onslaught, and that's the sort of thing that you're going to have a tough time recovering from. And yet, the Knicks never got down in this game by more than 12 points. So I think that's a real testament to them, their grittiness. Speaking of grittiness, 44-35 on the glass, 14-5 on the offensive glass, and then, of course, get to the line 33 times. You love that. It's all good stuff. It's all good stuff. So love that. Thanks, Bill. Another one from Kev here. Also beginning to really hope Kolek supplants. Oh, why are you trying to get people out of the rotation, Kev? Come on. Supplants Jordan Clarkson soon. I know JC can be a microwave, but the bad is bad. Capital B, capital A, capital D. Kolek brings a different dynamic and competes on defense. All right, you want to have this conversation briefly? I don't want to spend too long on it, but so OG, let's say OG comes back. So first of all, in a game, OG Anunoby did not play. And in a game against Giannis Antetokounmpo, where in theory, the guy whose name I'm about to mention is like, oh, he's a decent option against Giannis, right? Right, that guy? Gershon Yabusele played 6 minutes. And again, I don't say the minute total like that to blame Mike Brown one iota. Truly, I don't. Even though Gershon did hit his first shot, it was a 3, and it felt like a nice little jolt in the moment. But, so if we are excising players from the rotation when OG Anunoby comes back, like, I'm sorry, but I'm kicking Yabu out before I'm kicking out Clarkson. Clarkson has helped me win basketball games this year. Yabusele, he's been a positive in maybe 1 or 2 games. So now, does that leave you very small? Of course it leaves you very small. But by the same token, you have Mitch, you have Cat, you have OG, you have McCall, you have Hart, who we know he plays bigger than his listed size. So I think you might be able to get away with, both Clarkson and Kolek sticking around in the rotation. Again, once OG is back, does that influence who you start versus Hart or with Hart versus Deuce? Maybe it might. I don't know. If he really wanted to keep Kolek in the rotation, does that maybe embolden him more to start Deuce instead of Josh? Again, I don't know. I don't know. I would really have to think this out. But this stuff all ties together. Look, has Kolek become an automatic rotation guy? I don't know that we're there yet. And certainly one bad night from Clarkson. I know it's more than just one bad night, Kevin. I'm not suggesting that you're saying you're making this comment based on just one night. I know you're not, to be clear, but I have seen enough of what I've liked from Clarkson, and with all due respect to Tyler Kolek, there are things that never in his basketball life will he be able to do that approximate Jordan Clarkson. So yeah. All right. Mark, you want to toss up the what do you want to toss up? Toss up defensive player of the game. I always like looking at those pictures. Tonight's winner, of course, is Josh Hart. Josh Hart, we should say, 3 steals tonight, but it was a lot more than 3 steals. Defensive rebounds are part of defense, and he got 13 of them things. Let's see who I gotta look around my camera here. Who's that peeking between Mohamed Diawara and the guy whose name I can never pronounce? Tosan. Is that looks like Hukporti? That looks like Hukporti, right, Mark? Popping his head between to the side of Mohamed Diawara. No. Oh, well, there's Jaylen, of course. That's a great shot at Jaylen. I love Jaylen in these pictures. It gives me life. Deuce is doing like a little dance move. That's fun. And it's nice to see Landry Shamet not in a sling, most of all. Probably the best part of it. And then there's someone hiding behind Pacome Dadier. I don't know what that's about. Something going on there. Anyway, all right. Congrats to Josh and his sliders. That Jaylen picture. Jaylen's the best. You want to do after this? We'll wait a little bit before the start of the night. Okay. Mr. Zip Davis. What's going on, Mr. Zip Davis? If the Knicks were an N64 game, they'd be Bomberman Hero. I've never played that game. I don't even know what that game is. It strays from the gameplay the franchise is known for, but when you get into it, you could see the changes in the formula are a welcome one. I'll be honest with you. That's a good comment, Mr. Zip Davis. I'll be honest with you. I am like the way the offense operated tonight. You could have told me Thibodeau was still the coach, and I would have believed you. There's certain stuff we're not seeing as much. And Doc Rivers, by the way, even said this before the game. He said the difference between when we played the Knicks now and when we played the Knicks when we played them earlier in the year is earlier in the year they were running much less pick and roll. So I think you were seeing more of the Mike Brown stuff on offense. I'm thinking of one thing that stood out earlier in the year was like they were doing a lot of the wheel concept or the wheel where it's kind of all your spacers are like kind of shifting in unison, and there's a lot of that sort of off-ball movement. Feels like we haven't quite seen as much of that recently. But the concept of driving and kicking, and spraying, I do think that is alive and well. They did not do a great job of that in the first half. In the first half, it felt like, if anything, they probably took a few too many mid-rangers. But at the same time, that is what this Bucks defense, and I know they were talking about this in the chat. Shout out to chatnext.com. We gave away our Raptors tickets tonight. I don't know if the winner claimed them. I have to check that out. But yeah, they were talking about this. Like, the Bucks were really trying to take away those threes, and I thought the Knicks actually responded well. I mean, look, the Knicks tonight shot 34 threes, so on the lower side, but it's fine. But I like the offense. I think the offense is getting them good shots. And it feels like we have not seen as many of the lulls offensively that we saw certainly last year, over the last 3.5 months of the year. So, yeah, it's good stuff. Thanks, man. Guy Huber, then. Haven't heard from Guy Huber in a while. Can I say, I don't know what this means. Underscore seek. Oh, I get it. Yeah, it's a curse word. Stan Van Gundy. I love Stan. I'm a fan of Stan. I think he's good. I like his commentary. Listen, Stan is a Heat guy. He's a Heat guy. He's a Heat guy through and through. He's always going to be a Heat guy. It doesn't matter how many teams he coached after the Heat canned his ass. He's always going to be a Heat guy. And so, yeah, he's going to needle the Knicks. He probably gets a little extra joy knowing, that he's doing it to the team that, never looked his brother's direction again, even though there were certainly opportunities they could have looked Jeff's way over the years. I just think he's a good commentator, and two, I think he knows his shit, and he's a smart basketball mind. He's not afraid to go out on a limb. So I like Stan. I also get why Knicks fans don't care for him, but I think he's good announcer. Thanks, Goober. Mr. McBagels, what's going on, Mr. McBagels? Shout out Cat for the jump ball play. Yes, it was a massive play in the moment. I'm happy you shouted it out, and I think Cat deserves. I don't know if he deserves a little love tonight, but I think he deserves maybe some grace. So I'm glad you're giving it to him there. Thanks, Mr. McBagels. Appreciate you. Hold on, we got another Josh quote here. I'll read it in a minute. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Once again, thank you, basketball gods, for 11. I look at his contract. I can't believe this is our life. Let's win this cup, man. I usually don't care, but let's go Knicks. I'm sure you cared the last 2 years. Come on. No, the other teams in the cup are hold on. Why do they make it so hard to find everything on the fucking ESPN site? I'm gonna find this, but I don't think the Cavs made it. I'm pretty sure the Cavs did not make the cup. So that was the other favorite coming into the year. So what the Knicks should be, I don't know, they should be favorites to do it, to win the thing. Will they be favorites? Probably not. But I think they could be considered favorites. The freaking NBA page hasn't even updated yet. Well, this is so stupid. Anyway. Kev is saying that you don't want to excise Jordan Clarkson. You just want Kolek to play more than him. That's fair. I'll hear that. Okay. Yeah, Jaylen Brunson's really good. I don't really got much more to say about that. He's awesome. Ron Tequila 21. What's going on, Ron? Love the fight this team had battling back tonight. Yeah, I love it too. It was great. It was great. It was a very, 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 very good win. I think the Miami game without JB, that was the only win that I would say was a great win, the sort of win that I will remember a couple years from now. Will we remember tonight years from now? Maybe not. It was a damn good win. Thanks, Ron. Appreciate you. Hushu with another one. Here's a question. What is Cat's percentage at the rim this year? So, funny you should ask. I talked about this recently. So I looked this up on a post game or on a show. Jeremy did something. It's low. It's the lowest of his career. So coming into tonight, what the hell? Coming into tonight, it was 60%. So again, just to put that into perspective, 60%, that is in the 19th percentile for big men league-wide. So 60% sounds not terrible until you put it up against other bigs around the league. Now, I understand Cat doesn't play like other bigs around the league, so it's worthy of consideration. But this is also a player who, there was a year, his second to last year in Minnesota, granted he only played in 29 games, shot 77% at the rim. He's had 1, 2, 3 other seasons where he has shot at least 70% at the rim. Even his bad, quote unquote, bad seasons at the rim were 66%, 67%. Last year was 67%. Again, not a great year, but it was, you deal with it when you think about everything else he brings to the table. 60% is just, it's so low that there is no part of me that thinks that it is going to continue to be this low. It is going to turn around. He is going to turn it around. It's going to happen. I promise you it's going to happen. Thanks, Hush. Take off my headphones for a sec. Oh, my guy, my co-host on NBA Takedown, who is just, he's a pleasure to talk to about basketball several days a week. I got to tell you, Jeff J. The Knicks won with defense. Josh Hart locked up Giannis in the post with the game on the line. If he shot open threes, he'd be a top 10 player in the league. He's been look, even an 0 for 4 night tonight, he's still 36, 37% for the year. Yeah, Josh Hart's really good. He was great. I think, look, Brunson's going to get my player of the game, I think. But Hart, man, I might consider Hart. It's gonna be Hart or Brunson with Deuce is getting the 1 star. I know that Deuce is definitely getting the 1 star. Speaking of Josh, he said, this is him talking about not having Giannis Antetokounmpo. We don't have OG, who is an extremely physical guy. We always put him on those matchups. So with him out, I knew I had to kind of step up a little bit. Yes, you did. And look, he did a respectable job. And then Brunson was happy with how they closed it out. Yeah, nothing really else notable. Mike Brown saying some nice things about Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, it's good stuff. Thanks, Jeff. You're the man. Sergio, I was F. Esquivel. I think I got that right. Season started after Thanksgiving. Game on. 3-11. And by the way, F. Stan Van Gundy. A lot of Stan Van Gundy hate tonight. What's the deal? I guess most Knicks fans probably feel that way, is what I'm assuming, but that's fine. All right. We want to pop up our stat of the night, Mark? Let's do it. This is look, great minds think alike. Our stat of the game, courtesy of my guy, Jonah Kaufman, is 15. 15 rebounds for Josh Hart. Why is 15 rebounds for Josh Hart notable? Well, I'll tell you. This was Hart's most rebounds of the season, tying the 6'11" Giannis Antetokounmpo for the game high. It came along with his second most points of the season and tied for the most free throw attempts in his Knick tenure. I was wondering about that, and you got it. Great job, Jonah. Thank you. So this is tied for the most free throws Josh Hart has ever attempted in a game as a Knick. He had a 41 points, rebounds, assists total. That number is his 9th highest as a Knick, coming alongside 3 steals for a well-rounded game by Hart. Yeah, no, this was, man, That's kind of making the case for Hart as player of the game. But Jaylen Brunson single-handedly torpedoed the Bucks defense. That's a tough call between the two of them. I'm gonna need to think about that one some more. I don't know which way I want to go yet. My gut is telling me Brunson is the player of the game. Even if Josh Hart is the story of the game, was the guy I started the monologue with, I think I probably have to go with Brunson. But it's close. It's close. All right. Good stat. Yeah, no, either is fine. Oh, Chris Dayton, my guy, Chris. How you doing, Chris? What's up? He's been taking pictures left and right with between Deuce and Mike Brown and Josh Hart. He's getting in all the action here. Am I crazy, or is this year's team less dependent on Cat and JB? It seems all the 10-plus minute rotation players have had huge games at times, and when needed, the coach says, hey, we have JB and you don't. It's a really good question, Chris. I think ultimately I don't want to say that they're less dependent on those guys, but I think maybe, and this is probably not the night to say this, but if you're asking overall on the season, I do think that they are less dependent on those two particular players to score the basketball, to prop up their offense. Last year, Brunson and Cat combined to score 50 points a game. This season, they're probably still combining to score 50 points a game, more for JB, less for Cat. But I think Mike Brown has done a better job of utilizing their skill sets to increase the opportunity, the potential opportunities that exist for other Knicks on the court. Are Brunson and Cat still kind of getting better at taking advantage of all of those potential opportunities? Yeah. And like, again, part of this is like Jaylen Brunson's mentality is he is a scorer at heart. So, I get it. And you don't want a guy to deviate from what he is and who he is. So again, I don't know if I would say that they are less dependent on those guys to like, because you need guys that are going to strike fear in the heart of the defense. And they do it in different ways. But again, as scorers, I think that's a good point. It's a good conversation topic too. I would look up on off data, but we just don't. There's just not enough games played for that to really mean anything. In any case, you know what? This was a go. I'm gonna flag this. We're gonna have this be our first contender for the chat of the night. Okay. I'm writing it down, Mark. Don't worry. All right. Next up. Thanks, Chris. And Chris with another one. Also, an off true shooting percentage night for Deuce at 97.3%. That's great. That's really fantastic. Yeah. Deuce has been listen, let's pull up old Deuce here. Hang on. Again, I don't think this encompasses tonight. Shooting over. There we go. Coming into tonight, he was. Oh, that's right, because he started the season kind of on the slower side, but yeah, no, he's been picking it up big time. Hold on, I'll pull up his stats right now because Deuce, it's worth it. He's been really good. Here we go. So 4-10. Man, he's been shooting. Oh wait, no, here we go. 6 of 8 last game. 5 of 5 from 3. 2 of 2 from the line. And then tonight, 5 of 7 from deep. And he was great overall. So, yeah, he is on a bit of a heater, I think you'd say. I forgot he took 23 shots in that Miami game. Man, That's wild. But like you look at his point totals, 19, 19, 9, 11, 25, 9. Like he's averaging double digits for the first time in his career. And that's not nothing. That really is not nothing. 40% from over 40% from three, clearly. Good stuff from Deuce. Thanks, Chris. Next up, Stevens. What's going on, Stevens? How you doing, man? Stevens Guillaume. I guess that Madison Square Garden. That's a shout out to Mensa who came up with that one. Giannis was actually a placebo. 7 straight L's for the Bucks. Shout out to the roommates. They put on a show. Can we talk about the Bucks for a sec? Are we allowed to talk about the Bucks? I know it's a Knicks Film School postgame show, but are we allowed to talk about the Bucks? So Bucks have indeed lost 7 in a row. They are now 8-12. They sit 2 full games back of the 10th spot in the East. The Bulls are 9-9, and they sit 3 full games back of the Sixers and the Celtics, who are both 10-8. And then the Magic had a really nice win tonight, by the way, over the Detroit Pistons, who have suddenly lost 2 in a row. But it was a good game. It was a good game between those two teams. So the Bucks are looking right now like, what are they going to be? Like, just look at the top 6 in the East. Look at the top 6. Detroit 15-4. Raptors 14-5. Heat 13-6. I'm in love with the Heat this year. Knicks 12-6. Hawks 12-8. That feels a little fool's goldy. Only plus 2.1 scoring margin. And then the Cavs, who have lost 2 in a row, are 12-8. The Cavs are going to be fine. Cavs are coming. I know they lost to the Hawks tonight, but they're going to be fine. They got to get Garland back, but they're going to be fine. And then you got Orlando there at 12-8, in addition to Cleveland and Atlanta. I would guess that either Toronto or Atlanta is going to fall out of the top 6. I'm fully confident that Orlando is going to get into the top 6 and going to stay there. I think the Magic are going to make a run at the top 4 seed. And so, like, can the Bucks crack that? Like, unless you think Atlanta or Toronto are complete frauds, and I don't think either team is a complete fraud, I think the Bucks are going to have a tough time cracking that top 6, which means they are going to need to go the play-in route, and they're going to be competing with the likes of, again, one of probably, I would guess, Atlanta or Toronto, Philly, who is solid, is good. Is Boston going to hang? Boston's maybe the pivot one, because Boston, which direction are they going to go in? You know, they have a really good net rating, really, really good offense. Are they gonna keep trying to win games or not? So if the Bucks are just hanging around like 8, 9, 10 all year, it's probably not where you want to be. And they're not even at that point yet. They're 4 games under 500. Like, I'm not mentally ready to talk about a world where we get to mid-January and the Bucks are like 6 games under 500. I'm not ready, because I'm sure there's going to be it's going to get interesting very fast in Milwaukee, if it's not interesting already. What are their next punching? Oh, well, yeah, just as I say that, here's their next few games. Brooklyn, Washington. And then it gets a little harder. Detroit, Philly, Toronto, Minnesota. Oof. And then it gets back to being a little easier. But we'll see. Okay. Anyway, enough about the Bucks. Thanks, Stevens. Hush Zoo with another one. Big shout out to Deuce, man. I know he's been dealing with personal stuff, but to put his head down and go to work for us, grew so much with us. Stellar stuff. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, sure. Shout out to Deuce, man. I don't know what's personal stuff if he's still going through it, or I know obviously he had a loss in his family. missed another, or was he had an illness issue? Like there was another potential, like, he's had, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to speculate, but I hope everything's okay with him. He's vital for this team. He's absolutely vital for this team. Another guy who, much like Cat, the impact is not always, reflected in the individual numbers. Like the Knicks are better when Deuce is on the court than when he's off the court. So, yeah, and it's on both ends too. They're a better offensive team, and they're at least as good defensively. So, yeah. Thanks, Hush. Malik Haddad. What's going on? Malik or Malik? I think let's go Malik. As a Knicks fan, I'm glad we won. But honestly, this was a rather scary game to watch. What's your opinion on the wide open threes the Bucks had? Also, what's your opinion on Cat? And I mean beyond today. Okay, some good stuff there. I don't think the Bucks had quite as many wide open threes. So wide open to me, wide open by the definition of the league is 6 or more feet between you and the closest defender. By that definition, they didn't have a ton of wide open threes. They had some comfortable threes, but I thought in the first quarter, I thought the Knicks, after a rough first quarter, I think the Knicks cleaned it up. And I wouldn't even say the whole first quarter. I think, the opening part of the game. Here's my thing with the threes. And I know people get crazy. Armin it's his shtick. He does it in the chat all the time. Again, shout out to chatnext.com. With the league where it is today, where you have the skill level of what it is today, and you have guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, who, if Giannis Antetokounmpo was putting up the stats that he was putting up right now, and he put up those same stats in every other year the NBA existed, he would have won the MVP over whoever won the MVP in those previous, 70 whatever seasons, like half the time. And he is in that upper echelon with Jokic, with SGA, and with Luka, where you have these 4 guys who are, and Wemby's coming, where you have these guys who are just all in the league at the same time, and it's like they're just like, it's video game stuff. And you can't stop them, and you can't really contain them. And if you build a team like this around Giannis, or it's just Giannis plus shooting, like, what are you going to take away? And that would be a difficult conversation to have if they had OG Anunoby. And they don't have OG Anunoby. So, I don't want to make it like I'm giving the Knicks a pass, but like, they didn't have any good options tonight. It's either you put 2 on the ball and then you try like hell to get out to, a shooter, or you basically challenge Giannis like, yeah, sure, go score 1-on-1. And I thought they did a nice job of trying to mix up their coverages so it wasn't always the same thing. And so they were maybe trying to leave the right guys open. Like, it was really smart of them to leave Kyle Kuzma open, or not open, but like have Kuzma be the guy that was the most obvious shooter. And what did Kyle Kuzma do tonight? Of course, he made 4 or 5 from deep. Kyle Kuzma shooting 28% from 3, I think, coming into tonight. And he made 4 or 5. Like that, I'm sure, was part of the game plan whenever Kuzma was on the floor. Did it work out in the Knicks' favor tonight? No, but it was smart basketball. Because what else, now, I of course, will note some of those threes came when Giannis was not even on the court. So then you get, and then like the 3 at the end of the first half, I already talked about. Cat, the coverage was just bad there. So whatever. Look, I think I've said this multiple times. I'll say it again. They're giving up too many threes for a team that does not take away the rim completely. And they need to work on that. They need to take the rim away more. Are they taking away the paint? To some extent, yes. But they're not taking away the rim enough for my liking. As for my opinion on Cat, I've expressed my opinion on Cat many times. I have my skepticisms on Karl-Anthony Towns and my hope with Karl-Anthony Towns. And there are some days where my skepticism outweighs my hope 80-20. And then there are other days where my hope outweighs my skepticism 60-40, which kind of tells you where I am. As far as where the Knicks are in defensive shooting frequency, so where they rank as far as taking away the rim. See, this is my problem. They're 21st at taking away the rim. So they give up more threes than anybody in the league outside of the Pelicans. My God, what a fucking dumpster fire. And yet they're still bottom 10 at taking away the rim. Again, they're great at taking away the short mid-range, but they're not taking away the rim. If you give up the second most threes in the league by frequency, you have to be top 10 and taking away shots at the rim. You just have to be. Otherwise, it's not going to work out in your favor. Now, are they good at defending the rim when teams shoot at the rim? Yeah, they're good. They're top 10. They're 7th. You know, that's good. That's good. It's not great. It's good. So it's not all bad, but teams still get too many shots at the rim for a team that gives up as many threes as the Knicks do. Thanks, Malik. But to answer your question, am I like worried? I don't know. I'm not worried yet. I'm still not worried. Talk to me after 40 games. Walt Clyde Fraser, what's going on, man? Thank you for watching along with us in the playback tonight. Second chance points, Hart of old, some great defensive highlights. Brunson open flame cooking. Felt almost like a 23-24 Knicks win. At times it did. There was nothing was like that team. At times, but no, nothing was like that team. That was a one-of-one team. Thanks, Walt. Love that name. Jason, what's going on, Jason? How you doing? Oh, goodness. Jason with the negativity. It's very disturbing. Of course, Jason uses the word disturbing. That the Bucks got away with putting Turner on Hart and leaving him open. Without OG and Shamet, we really don't have any other options. Hart put up 4 threes tonight. He missed all of them. And then there was one time where he was in the corner and he had the open three and he got whoever it was to bite and he drove for an open dunk. No, it's not disturbing, Jason. It's not disturbing to me. It's never going to be perfect with Josh Hart, especially. Unless he just turns into Klay Thompson, you're always going to have these moments where, and look, if any smart defense is going to do this, it's up to the Knicks to figure out ways around it, and there are myriad ways around it. Get Hart involved in the action, for one. Get him moving around off the ball, for 2. Have him shoot when he's open, for 3. There's lots of stuff they could do. It's not a death knell to the offense. It doesn't look like a death knell to the offense for me. It's the same thing we've always said, where Hart, if on an ideal team, you want him playing 25, 30 minutes, not whatever the hell he played tonight. 40, but hey, look, he was pretty good in the 40 minutes he played, so I'm not going to complain. Thanks, Jason. Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? How you doing, my brother? How did the Knicks survive Bucks and Fuego threes? Grit, toughness, and some very timely threes of their own for good measure. Nice, solid win. Let's go Knicks. Yeah, and on that note, let's look up. This is what I wanted to see. So, remember I tracked this stat a lot last season. But like how the Knicks were doing when other teams would shoot really well from deep versus when they weren't shooting well from deep, when the Knicks weren't shooting well from deep. So tonight the Bucks shot. They ended up shooting 41. No, that was the Knicks. Bucks ended up shooting 44% from deep. So coming into tonight, the two teams had shot higher, at least 44% from 3 against the Knicks. Those two teams were the Bulls, who the Knicks lost to by 10 in Chicago. That was rough. And actually the Wolves. The Wolves shot 48% from 3, and the Knicks still beat the hell out of them because the Knicks couldn't miss from 3 that night. But, by and large, the Knicks have most of their wins on nights where other teams have not shot it well. And then where the Knicks are concerned, I mean, they really do kind of live by the three and die by the three. So 4 of their 5 losses, 4 of the Knicks' 5 losses, have come when they have shot under 34%. Losses against Milwaukee, Orlando, Miami, and both Miami games. The freaking Miami games, both of the 2 they lost, 25% and 28% from 3. The only win they have all year when they didn't shoot the 3 well was the win against Dallas. So, look, but this is the NBA in 2025, so it's a good job by them to survive the early shooting. Thanks, Tom. Wondering Tumnus. What's going on, Wondering? Overall, great win. Brunson going toe-to-toe with Giannis brings me joy. Brings me joy, too. Hart is a man, all caps. Alas, Cat making sure the Bucks GM doesn't want him in a trade. Congratulations, Wondering Tumnus. You are our second candidate for chat of the night. God. Here's why I'm not ready to have the what if the Bucks are 6 games under 500 in the middle of January conversation, because if Giannis really decides like I am not wasting another fucking April/May/June on this dog shit team, and he starts putting the screws to them now, the Knicks I just don't think they have a prayer. I think the Knicks need to get to this summer to be able to unlock another it's not here's the thing. Here's the thing. Not only will the Knicks unlock their 2033 first round pick, they will also be able to trade their first round pick on draft night this year. So, and by the way, potentially, which this they could trade right now, but there will be certainty as to where the Wizards' fake first/2 seconds will land, and a team will know, hey, we might be able to get the first pick in the second round if the Wizards finish with the worst record in basketball, which I think is a distinct possibility at this rate. So I just, I think this upcoming summer, the Knicks will be able to put together a real package, to say nothing of the fact that it will be easier, much easier for them to pull off a trade logistically. And that's why I'm hoping that Giannis does not try to force his way out before February, but he said he wasn't going to do that. So, we got to take Giannis at his word. So we'll see. Thanks, Wondering Tumnus. Danishevsky. Why you got to do this to me? Is Cat an all-star this year? Mikal deserves it over Cat. I mean, right now, Karl-Anthony Towns is not an all-star. He does not deserve to be an all-star. But Bridges, I think he had a better case for Bridges all defense right now than all-star. Like, God, am I really going to do this right now? I'm going with if Karl is considered an American-born player, and I understand he played for. Well, let's do this. If he's considered an international player, he has zero chance because the international field is already set with Jokic, SGA, Wemby, Luka, Giannis. Who am I forgetting? Franz. I'm forgetting more very obvious people. Giddey is less of a lock now, but he'll get in. Austin Reeves is from Arkansas. That's kind of like a third world country. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. Sengun or Şengün. I always say his name wrong. Şengün is a lock. That's 7 that I just named. They get 8, right? Oh, Denny Avdia. You're done. There's your 8 international players. And then, on Markkanen. Jesus. So Markkanen probably gets in over Giddey right now. So right there, your Cat's 10th at best, and at best. And then if you consider Cat the American, let's see if I could do this off the top of my head. I'm just gonna start checking. So Cade, Duran, these are guys who I would put in ahead of Cat right now. Barnes, Scotty Barnes, Norm Powell, Jaylen Brunson. Man, what hawk? I probably Jalen Johnson, but he'd get in over. Let's put Jalen Johnson to the side for a minute because I would need to look into that a little bit more. Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley could go take a long walk. Do Maxi, lockety lock. Jaylen Brown. Ryan. I don't know if I'd put him in ahead of Cat, but Ryan Rollins needs to get some all-star consideration / love. Siakam. Siakam's team is 3-16, and yet Siakam is having unequivocally a better year than Karl-Anthony Towns. He just is. But Siakam's also an international player, so that's another one down the list. Okay, so I just named 8 in the East. Okay, let's keep it going. Chet, Austin Reeves, Murray. Murray probably. I'll put Murray to the side for now. Murray probably. KD, Locke, Booker, Edwards, Steph. Oh, sorry, Mark. Yes, Murray's Canadian. My bad. So again, that's yet another international player. So you could argue now if Cat is considered an international player, he's like 11th or 12th on the list. Harden. I know the Clippers stink, but Harden's having an outstanding season. Okay, that's 7. So that's of course I have, but I had a bunch of maybes, and I'm down to one spot left for American-born players. And I think one of the maybes as of now would probably get in, ahead. Like Amin Thompson. You'd probably put Amin Thompson in ahead of Cat. He doesn't have the numbers maybe, but the Rockets are freaking world beaters. I didn't say LeBron James. I know LeBron has only played 3 games or whatever, and I think his double-digit scoring streak might end tonight, but he's getting in, obviously. Duh. So yeah, I look, I think he's going to rebound. I think by the time we get to All-Star consideration, I think the numbers will pick up, and as long as the Knicks are really good, they'll get a second All-Star. It's funny, for as many conversations as we had at the beginning of the year about three Knick All-Stars, now that OG has been down for the count for a while, if I think you have to set the over-under for Knick All-Stars this year at 1.5, and I would be curious about the action on the under right now. Right now, I'd look into that, but we'll see. Okay. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate that little exercise. Spree, what's going on, Spree? Hart beating Giannis for the jump ball was the highlight of the season so far. Here, congratulations, Spree. You are our 3rd candidate for chat of the night. Nice job. I like that one. Is it the highlight of the season so far? No. The highlight of the season so far, I think, has to be the Shamet dunk. Right? The Shamet dunk over Khalil Ware. Yeah, this is close. This is close. It's top 5 for sure. Top 5. Oh, actually, no. If it's how crazy is it that the top two candidates for moment of the season are both Landry Shamet plays. The Shamet dunk and then Shamet drawing the offensive foul on Brandon Williams. Those are probably the top two candidates right now. Hart winning the jump ball is probably third. But good comment. Good comment. All right. Thanks, you, Spree. And then Sam F. What's going on, Sam? You said Clarkson was twice baked potatoes. In honor of your being the chef du jour yesterday, what other dishes are the Knicks starters? Jaylen obviously is the turkey. Cat is the stuffing. Josh, the cranberry sauce. Sam, you're stealing the bit that Derrick Henry had me on for. I did an episode of New York Hot Game with him for the New York Post. It dropped earlier in the week. We actually did a Knicks giving plate in which I had Brunson as my turkey, indeed. Josh Hart as my cranberry sauce because you either love him or hate him. I had Cat as my dessert because I'm not a big dessert guy, and like a lot of times I'll have dessert and I'm like, this really isn't worth it, and other times I'll love it. So who would be the? Oh, and I had OG as the stuffing. And what starters? So you said are the starters. So who else was a starter? So Deuce is a starter tonight. What's Deuce? Deuce is always additive. He's always additive. It's not a perfect analogy, but he's Deuce. Deuce is the dinner roll because I'm never upset to have a dinner roll. Like I don't if I'm making a little sandwich out of the dinner roll, if I'm just eating the dinner roll plain. I just always love having a dinner roll nearby. I'm always going to eat the dinner roll. I'm always going to be thrilled with the dinner roll. Is it going to be the star of my dish? No, it's not going to be the star of my dish, but very happy to have it. The only thing I don't love there is dinner rolls like empty calories, and Deuce is not empty calories, so it's not perfect. And then I said Cat. I mean, I've pretty much who else played tonight? What is Mitch? Mitch is the gravy. Mitch is the gravy because if it's right, he could single-handedly elevate everything else. Are there times that you just want to go without the gravy for a variety of reasons? Yeah, there are times where you just don't. It's not, whether you're not in the mood for whatever. But if that gravy really hits, and it could cover up for so much other, you burn your turkey, that's okay. We got the gravy here. So I think Mitch has to be the gravy. I really want to Gershon. Oh my God. So I did the turkey drippings. I saved them in a Tupperware overnight, and I went and wanted to get them for my sandwich today. And the fat in the turkey drippings coagulated on the top, and I had to scoop it off with a spoon, and it was not pleasant. I'm just going to leave that right there. And last but not least, Tyler Guy's Mark is fucking dying. And then Tyler Kolek. What's Tyler, man? Tyler is passing. Martin's saying crackers. Tyler Kolek's not crackers. That's so bad. I don't even know if Mark realizes the joke that he just made. No, Tyler Kolek's not crackers or a cracker. He is like a glass of wine, maybe. No, because I love wine, and sometimes, yeah, Kolek is like just like you don't. Shout out Dave Chappelle, yes. I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy off the top of my head for. No. Actually, hold on. I got one. So my wife makes these sweet potatoes, candied yams, sweet potatoes, whatever, with marshmallows on top. You put it in the oven, you put the marshmallows on, the marshmallows melt. They're filled with brown sugar and butter and all kinds of other stuff. And oftentimes I just don't have room for it literally in my stomach because I want to get the stuffing and the potato and this and that. And so sometimes I don't even get to it on the table. Like I didn't eat any of it really for Thanksgiving, but day after today, I had a bite. I'm like, this is really good. I don't know what the ceiling is of it for me. I don't know if it's ever going to be part of like a permanent part of my Thanksgiving plate where I just need to have it with all the other stuff. But I generally enjoy it when I have it. So yeah, that's Talakolic. Okay. Is that it? I think we're done here. That was very fun. Okay, we got to pick our chat of the night here. That last one's a candidate for chat of the night too. I'll go with. I think I got to go with Wondering Tumnus. I think I got to go with Wondering Tumnus's comment because it did make me genuinely laugh the hardiest. So congratulations, Wondering Tumnus. You get our first official chat of the night presented by our friends at Fanatics Sportsbook. Mark will ping you or something. We'll get your info. Here's the other thing I probably should have said at the beginning. In order to qualify for to get the FanCash, just have to have a Fanatics account. So make sure you have a Fanatics account, and you'll get $25 in FanCash your way for making a joke about Cat wanting to make sure the Bucks GM doesn't want to have him in a trade. That's really funny. Okay. And on that note, I think we're good. Thanks everybody for checking out another episode of the Knicks Film School Postgame Show. I will be back on Sunday after the game. Knicks Raptors, no RJ, but still big game. Looking up in the standings at the Toronto Raptors, the big Atlantic Division battle, he says somewhat facetiously. I hope everybody again had a great Thanksgiving. Trying to think if there's anything I forgot that I wanted to say. Do us a favor, follow us, subscribe, Patreon, putting out great stuff. I saw Benji just dropped a new grade book today. Knicks Film School newsletter. Obviously, if you want to read more about this team, you could do so with my newsletter on Substack. And that's it. I hope everybody's doing well and has a great rest of the weekend. We will talk to you soon. Peace out.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app.